Hello, and welcome to another video. Today, we will be taking a look at my pre-release kit from the Magic Foundations pre-release that happened last weekend. I will show you around the sealed deck that I played. We can look at what else I had in my sealed pool. And then at the end of the video, I have some prize packs that I won at the pre-release, and we can open these up together. So, let's get started. So I left everything intact in here from the pre-release. The deck that I played is up in front, and everything else that I opened is in the back. We will come back to this part a little bit later. I will go ahead and get this all unsleeved and laid out for you so we can take a proper look at it. Okay, so here is the deck that I played. I went 3-0 with this, which I was really happy with. It is mostly a green-red stompy kind of deck, with the added splash of 2 white removal spells. The deck, I would say, was kind of on the slower side. Once I was able to get up to the 4 slot and above, that's where this deck really shined. I had a few opponents that were on the blue-white flyers plan, which I definitely struggled with in the early game. Things like Healer's Hawks and Mischievous Mystics were creating a pretty big life total gap in the early game, and it was fairly difficult for me to deal with cards like that without reach or flying earlier than a 4-mana creature. So I kind of had to rely on individual pieces of removal for those, which wasn't great. But otherwise, I think this deck did pretty well. I didn't build this deck with any particular themes in mind, but there were some synergies that kind of emerged on their own, like things that care about having creatures with power 4 or greater. Garrick's Uprising for sure. The Nessian Hornbeetle. There was a tiny little synergy going on with Dwynen and the Beastkin Rangers, so those were pretty good. I really loved the Treetop Snare Spinner. It is a 4-mana 1/4, which isn't that exciting, but with Reach and Death Touch, it stops a lot of flying creatures in their tracks. And you can pay 3 mana into it to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. So that's great anytime it's sitting around. The Wildwood Scourge really wants you to put +1/+1 counters on other creatures. So the Snare Spinner is a great enabler for that. Plus things like the Cackling Prowler and the Nessian Hornbeetle will put +1/+1 counters on themselves. So, like I said, there were some good little synergies going on in here. And then our top end. Unfortunately, no one really let me play the Twin Flame Tyrant. It straight up got countered a few times. It got exiled with Banishing Light a couple times as well. I never got to do any double damage with anything. But as a consolation, I suppose, I did get to play Galta a few times, including being able to attack with it and remove my opponent from the game. So yeah. This is what I ended up playing, but let's go through and see what else I had in my pool. So I was pretty underwhelmed with the promo card that I got. We could end the turn for 6 mana. I do understand the application of this card and ways in which it could be useful to really good, but for me, it just didn't really feel like something that I would want to be doing. So obviously never built anything around this and never even took it out of the package. And I've got the other rares that we opened right on top here. So aside from the Twin Flame Tyrant and Gulpa, we had Loot and Brass's Bounty. Brass's Bounty I think is straight up unplayable. Loot I considered very briefly but decided against it. I didn't really want to be playing a 3-mana 1/4. It might be useful to play more than one land per turn, but I don't expect to have a surplus of land in my hand really at any time. So that seems like it has a pretty narrow application, especially if you don't get this out right on turn 3. And then 6 mana to get a creature onto the battlefield. While I do think it is good to be able to look ahead into your library like that, most of my creatures cost less than 6 anyway, and I don't know, it just didn't seem like that good of a deal. So I wasn't too excited by this card. Kaikar I was potentially interested in, and thought it was kind of funny that we opened this in our first Crack-a-Pack video as well. And then Zool I think I would have been fine playing, but I wasn't sure what the other zombies in the deck looked like. And for Sealed it doesn't seem super strong. I would of course run it as an on-rate creature with some protection on it, but as a rare, maybe not super exciting. And then stuff in my colors that I didn't run. Grow from the Ashes I actually originally had in the main deck. I wanted to make sure that I had enough ways to get planes for my 2 white spells. But it just ended up being kind of slow and not that good, so I took it out and replaced it with one of the 2-mana 2/2s, because I felt a little bit lacking in that 2-mana slot. So that felt like a good change. Apothecary Stomper I did consider, but wasn't too motivated by a 6-mana 6/6. I know the counters can go on other creatures as well, but just didn't seem that great when compared to the rest of my top end. Broken Wings I did end up siding in a lot. Having this here to take down an angel or something like that was really good. Make Your Move I really did want to run. I had this pulled out alongside the other white removal spells that I had, but I just didn't have quite enough room for all of them. And this was the most narrow of the 3-mana white removal spells that I had. So I did take it out, but I would probably play it if I had another slot available. Spitfire Lagak I did consider, but I wasn't sure how many land drops I would realistically have after 4. Hopefully another 4 or so, but I just wanted to go in a different direction for my 4 slot. Campus Guide. Again, I wanted to play to make sure that I had enough access to my planes, but it didn't end up making the final cut. And then we've got the rest of the red cards that I didn't play. My remaining multicolored card, lands and artifact. Oops. That Swiftblade Vindicator is actually a rare. And then the white, blue, and black is remaining. I really did consider trying to run white, but it was Twin Flame Tyrant and Galta that really drew me into red-green. I kind of had a hard time imagining playing anything other than that. And those are really right up my alley as a player anyway. So while I did get a little bit of white in there, unfortunately couldn't go too deep on these. So that was my entire sealed pool. I would love to know your opinion on what I played or didn't play. And of course, I want to hear all about how your pre-release deck was, if you went out and played in an event, or how you're feeling about foundations in general. I really enjoyed playing in my pre-release, and I'm super excited to try drafting it this week. So I will be sure to let you know how that goes. And I think it's a little refreshing to kind of have something that feels like a core set again. I don't know if you played back when there were core sets, but it was nice once in a while to have something that was a bit more toned down. But yeah, let's get right on to opening up the prize packs. So for my 3-0 record, I got 6 packs. Enough to actually build another sealed deck if I want to give that a try. And maybe I will after this. But let's open them up. Love a banishing light. So much removal in this pack, wow. With that foil hero's downfall. Our rare Dracuseth, Maw of Flames, a big 7/7 dragon. And I noticed they've been doing 2-sided tokens in this set. I think we've all been wanting that for a long time. Especially with the art cards now, it just seems really difficult to get a hold of the tokens that you actually need, so nice to see. Bushwhack. I love Imprisoned in the Moon. Ooh. Our rare is Lathril, Blade of the Elves. Nice. I have been curious about this card, so maybe it's something I want to try out. Another Bushwhack and Lightshell duo. I don't know if maybe this is a small set, but it seems like we get a lot of the same commons and uncommons pack to pack. And our rare is Extravagant Replication. We can copy our own permanents. Might be a fun commander card. I was really hoping for a Llanowar Elves in my pre-release kit, but sadly did not get one. Exemplar of Light is our rare. Seems pretty good as long as you are gaining life. Another Bushwhack and Lightshell duo. Always together, that's so weird. And a Brass's Bounty, no! A Sarah Angel, nice. And a Crystal Barricade. That's kind of a bummer. Oh, and a Niv Mizzet. Nice. Alright, I feel redeemed about this pack. And there we have it. Thank you so much for joining me today for a look around my Foundations pre-release kit. I would love it if you left a comment and told me how your pre-release went, and any standout cards from the set that you are excited for. I am optimistic that this will be a very fun set to play, and I can't wait to be able to draft it. But yeah, as always, if you enjoyed this video, I would absolutely love it if you would give it a thumbs up. And please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll be back with new Magic the Gathering, ASMR videos, every Monday and Friday. Your support truly means the world to me. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day.